So could we kind of start out, Debbie, by just having you really describe what is a 1031 exchange?
I would love to. First of all, I'm going to say something that I want to define what is a 1031 exchange, but I want to start this by saying what is not a 1031 exchange. And that is, people have this idea that it's tax-free money. So a 1031 exchange is not a process to have tax-free money. It's actually tax-deferred. It's tax-deferred, so the deferral will follow the taxpayer. So bottom line, what is a 1031 exchange according to the code? It's the sale, it's the trade, if you will, of an investment property for another investment property. And as long as they buy basically equal or greater, then they have the premise for doing a 1031 exchange. So it's it has to apply to investment property.
Okay, perfect. So logistically speaking, how does a 1031 exchange work? What exactly are you doing and accomplishing?
Okay, so from a 1031 exchange process, I'm going to do both sides for the investor and for the exchange process. So let's start with the investor. When a 1031 exchange, how it works is basically when they do sell that property according to the code, they can't have constructive receipt or control of those funds. Thus, that's why there's the need for a qualified intermediary, and that's what we are, a qualified intermediary. And according to the tax code, since they can't have this constructive receipt or control of these funds, when they hire the qualified intermediary, we prepare agreements and we actually get assigned into the transaction with the taxpayer. So now the taxpayer is the seller, and the seller identity and escrow will be Exchange Resources Inc., for example, the name of the QI, for the benefit of the acronym FOB, and then it'd be Debbie Bannister. So we're together. And then that allows us to do our work for the taxpayer and making sure they have an exchange and do all the paperwork that we need to do. And also allows us to receive the proceeds at the close of the sale, because the client, as I mentioned, cannot have that control. So we take that money and have it set up in segregated tax bank accounts for each client that we work with. And then on the replacement property, we get signed into. But when regards to the exchange itself, what it really accomplishes is it allows the taxpayer to really reorganize what they have. It allows them to, if they have property that's not working for them, or property that's depreciated out, or property that they hate that type, that class of property, and they want to change the type, 1031 exchange allows them to reorganize, sell, buy something else, get into a different type of property, or maybe they have high loan debt and they want to reorganize that loan debt. And they can sell that property, maybe buy two properties, where they can spread that loan debt among the two properties, so as to perhaps over here they have one property with, say, worth $2 million, $1 million loan debt, $1 million cash, obviously. So, but they're always in the red. They never made enough money. They never really made money on their income property. So now the exchange allows them to reorganize by maybe selling and buying several smaller properties, putting smaller loan debts among all these properties, which would add up to that $1 million, and use the $1 million cash as offsetting, the rest of the value of the property, the equity. And some of the properties they can buy free and clear, some they can have with loan debt. But at the end of the day, that reorganization could allow them to finally have cash producing properties, which is amazing.
Got it. So you could take a highly appreciated asset and basically, can you use the word convert? Like, are you basically kind of converting the property into other?
It's basically a trade.
In trading, okay.
And the reason why we use that verbiage is because you're going to take everything for the sale property, the cost basis, all the economic factors that belong to that property, and we're going to move them into whatever you buy. So it's just being deferred. It's just being moved over. So we call it a trade due to the fact that that economic fact, the cost basis gets moved over here. And if they bought multiple properties, that cost basis is prorated out and spread out between all the properties. And so it's just a way of reorganizing.
I love that. And it's interesting. I think a lot of people think about reorganizing their stock portfolios, right? They might say, oh, all of a sudden I'm too heavily weighted in technology because tech is so high right now. So they sell some tech and they buy some gold or, you know, some other asset, right? And this is kind of the same idea where you say, hey, I want to trade out of my, you know, commercial building into maybe a whole bunch of vacation rentals, or I want to move some money
Absolutely.
right outside of California and maybe I want to go invest in another state, and they can defer the tax of their theoretical gain on that property by moving it into another asset.
Absolutely. And it's beautiful that you're not stuck. It's
Right.
beautiful that and because people think that they're stuck. If they sell it, they're going to pay taxes. But this deferral, this 1031 allows them to do this and keep their properties at optimum performance if possible.